In example 2, it says Tanya paid $210,800 for her one-bedroom condominium. This was $15,500 less than Joe paid for his condominium. How much did Joe pay for his condo? Letter A tells us to find the variable and list what it represents. The variable usually comes from the very last sentence. This is how much did Joe pay for his condo? So we're looking for how much Joe paid for his condo. We don't want to write it as a question. We want to write our variable as a sentence or a statement. So we're going to let C equal the price Joe paid for his condo. Then in letter B, we need to come up with an equation to represent this. If we take a look at our problem, the first sentence talks about what Tanya paid for her one-bedroom condominium, and then it says this was. That word was, that word is, that usually represents that we have our equal sign. So that divides our problem into a left-hand side and a right-hand side. So I'm going to start with my equal sign down here in my problem. And then I'm going to look at what this represents. This represents something from the first sentence. The first sentence talks about Tanya paying a certain amount of money for her condo. The this refers to that money, that $210,800. So that goes on the left-hand side of my equal sign. On the right-hand side of my equal sign, it says I have $15,500 less than. Remember, we talked about with the words less than and more than. This indicates that the number before goes at the end. So the number goes at the end. So that $15,500 has to go at the very end of my problem on the right-hand side. Less than means subtraction, so I'm subtracting that $15,500. What goes in front of that is what Joe paid for his condominium. And what Joe paid for his condominium, that's our variable, which is letter C. So our equation is $210,800 equals C minus $15,500. In letter C, we'll go through and we'll solve that equation. Remember, we don't want to use letter B to do any of our work. We're going to rewrite the equation in letter C so that we can keep letter B looking nice. And if I'm going to solve this equation, I'm going to find my variable. It's over here on the right. And what's happening to this variable is I'm subtracting $15,500. The opposite of subtracting $15,500 would be to add it. So I'm going to add $15,500 on the right, which means I also have to add $15,500 on the left. And then if I go ahead and add these up together, $210,800 plus $15,500 will give me $226,300 equal to C. So I can say Joe paid $226,300 for his condo. Make sure you have your units there, which is the dollars.